नमस्कार दोस्तों, टैक्स लॉ एजुकेयर सोसाइटी की इस 20th बजट टॉक में आप सबका स्वागत है। कल ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर ने बजट पेश किया और हमारे साथ टैक्स गुरु हमारे आदरणीय डॉक्टर गिरीश आहूजा जी, हमारे टैक्स एक्सपर्ट, टैक्स लॉ एजुकेयर सोसाइटी प्रेसिडेंट जी आज यहाँ आए हैं आपके बारे में डिस्कस करने, टैक्स एनालिसिस। तो दोस्तों, प्लीज स्टैंड अप फॉर नेशनल एंथम।
हमारी वीडियो में आ रही है।
चलो कोई बात ऐसे कर।
तो यार खड़ा तो होना ही है वीडियो के लिए।
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा। विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा। तव शुभ नामे जागे, तव शुभ आशीष मागे। गाहे तव जय गाथा, जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
To begin with, I welcome Dr. Ravi Gupta, President of the Tax Law Educare Society, to share his views.
Thank you, Arun. A very good morning to all of you, especially to our Guruji, Dr. Girish Ahuja ji. And friends, we welcome you to this 20th consecutive budget talk organized by the Tax Law Educare Society. We are also joined by Mr. Jindal from Jalandhar, who is also joining this webinar and representing the voice of CA. Sanjay Agarwal ji is also with us. Welcome, Sanjay ji. Other dignitaries, CA Amarjit Chopra ji, Atul Gupta ji, they will be all joining this seminar, and we will be able to hear their views on the budget. Our is the analysis of the direct tax proposals by Dr. Girish Ahuja ji. As was described by the budget is being called a budget for the middleman, for the middle class. And truly, the benefits which have been extended to the middle class are remarkable. Many other amendments have been made to ease the doing of business, to ease the burden of the taxpayers, and Dr. Girish Ahuja ji today will analyze each of these provisions. Without taking much time, Dr. Ahuja has to address a number of seminars today. So straight away, I think we will start with the proceedings.
दोस्तों, जैसा आपको हो चुका है कि दिस इज दी कॉल्ड एज ए ड्रीम बजट फॉर मिडिल क्लास. No doubt, this is a dream budget for middle class because there is lot of direct tax reliefs and provisions are there, जिसको हमारे टैक्स गुरु डॉक्टर गिरीश आहूजा जी डिस्कस करेंगे. सर, इकोनॉमिक सर्वे में जैसे चीफ इकोनॉमिक एडवाइजर ने कल कहा, परसों कहा, गेट आउट ऑफ द वे एंड ट्रस्ट पीपल, गेट आउट ऑफ द वे एंड ट्रस्ट पीपल, वी मस्ट, फॉर वी हैव नो अदर चॉइस। सर, नो डाउट ये एक ड्रीम बजट है फॉर मिडिल क्लास, पर क्या बजट एक मेरली एक अकाउंटिंग एक्सरसाइज है? नहीं, ये एक इकोनॉमिक विजन होता है किसी गवर्नमेंट का। ये एक अकाउंटिंग एक्सरसाइज नहीं है। तो अपार्ट फ्रॉम डायरेक्ट टैक्स बोनांजा, पर हमको कुछ, जो कि अभी हम डॉक्टर अमरजीत चोपड़ा जी से डिस्कस करेंगे, कुछ मिसेस भी हैं इस बजट में। अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट, देखिए, इनकम होगी, टैक्स लगेगा, लोगों के पास पैसा ज्यादा आएगा, पर एक अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट जिसके ऊपर बहुत बड़ा एक फोकस, जिसके लिए एक पूरा एक एक्सरसाइज है, उसके बारे में लगा कि ट्रैक हल्का सा कुछ उसके बारे में नहीं आया। आज इंडिया की पॉपुलेशन अराउंड 15 to 20% स्ट्रगल कर रही है। वी एट दिल्ली इज ऑल्सो स्ट्रगलिंग विद पॉल्यूशन, पर पॉल्यूशन के बारे में बहुत एक्सपेक्ट था, क्योंकि ये हर हर साल बढ़ता जा रहा है और 15 to 20% पॉल्यूशन से स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं। एक और चीफ इकोनॉमिक एडवाइजर ने कहा कि 2047 तक अगर हमको विकसित भारत चाहिए तो हमको ग्रोथ 8 to 9% करनी पड़ेगी। ये तो 6 to 7% ग्रोथ से हम 15-20 साल और बाद में पहुंचेंगे। तो एक ही विकसित भारत जो 2047 तक का विजन है, इसमें 6 to 6.5% ग्रोथ, और जहां पर इतनी, देखिए, नो डाउट मिडिल क्लास के पास बहुत पैसा आएगा इससे, टैक्स कट से, पर पॉवर्टी, इन्फ्लेशन, ये भी एक मुद्दा है। आई वेलकम सीए डॉक्टर अमरजीत चोपड़ा जी टू डिस्कस दिस सिनेरियो ऑफ द ऑन इकोनॉमिक बजट। डायरेक्ट टैक्स के तो हमारे सर हैं ही, गुरु सर, तो प्लीज वेलकम, आई वेलकम अमरजीत जी।
Thank you, Arunji, and of course, my pranam to Guruji. Ravi ji is there, Sanjay Agarwal ji, Atul ji, Ashok Batra ji, I can see on the screen. The indirect tax guru, that's all I can tell him. You see, this is a budget which is a very clear reflection of one thing, that whatever bashing the government was getting from the middle class in the recent times, the government has tried to overcome that. Because year after year, for the last 10 years or 11 years, the government has been getting a bashing that nothing has been done for the middle class, because middle class doesn't fit into anywhere of the scheme of the things when it comes to the polls. Because middle class is one population which does go to vote. Either it is the lower class or it is the upper class which matters to the government. But this is the time when the government has thought of middle class. And I'm very clear that in one stroke, they have done a lot so far as the middle class part is concerned. But we must look at it, why it has happened. I think that's very, very important. Because if I compare the growth in the last quarter, it was down from 6.7% in the last quarter to this quarter to 5.4% only. And the overall growth, which Arun ji said, for the full year will be about 6.4% against 8.2% projected growth. No, one thing was very clear, that there seems to be something structurally wrong. It is not cyclical. If one feels that it has been a cyclical phenomenon, no. It is more of a structural problem, that we don't have the demand from the middle class. We don't have the requisite investment coming from the private sector. I think in no country, under any circumstances, if at all there has to be a sustainable growth, it has to be through the private consumption, it has to be through the private investment, and it has to be through the net exports being positive. Now, in India, that thing has not been arising for some time, for that matter. So if at all you had to create a demand, you had to go in for this. But somewhere or the other, we have again missed out one point, which Arunji said that there are a lot many misses. Where is the incentive for investment by the private sector? We have definitely given a boost to the startups. There is no doubt. There are certain provisions which will, whether it is for the registration or incorporation, the period has been extended, or the loan amount which has to be given to the startups, that has been enhanced. But if you really ask me, the private investment coming from the big corporates, that is missing somewhere. And very surprisingly, when I look at the entire data of the tax collections, what I find is that we are one country where the corporates are contributing to the taxes much lower than the individuals. Now, this is a very, very surprising phenomena. Because the corporate sector is only contributing 17% of the total collection of the total taxes. Now, one way of looking at it is that if you tax corporate more, probably they will be left with lower money to claw back, etc. But I personally feel somewhere or the other, you cannot have individuals contributing more by way of direct taxes, contributing more by way of the indirect taxes, also by way of GST, because the corporates are able to have the input tax credit. But when it comes to the individual and when they have to pay the indirect taxes, there is absolutely no input tax credit so far as they are concerned. So we are one country where the contribution by the individuals to the total taxes is far more than the corporate world. So probably the government will have to think in those terms so far as that particular part is concerned. And I think this is the time that the government will have to think whether the sustainable growth can be achieved by collecting the taxes and then distributing by way of freebies. Whether it is the state government or whether it is the central government, I think we have to strike a balance somewhere. Fiscal discipline has to come in. Though, if you ask me, fiscal deficit this year has been restricted to 4.8%, and they are projecting that next year it will be 4.4%. And if they are able to achieve it in the real sense of it, probably this will be the best thing to happen. But what Arunji said, when it comes to the middle class, you may say that you have given somebody 10,000 rupees per month, you have given somebody 7,500 rupees per month. But what about the inflation? When it will come to the inflation, unless you are able to actually ensure that the pulses, etc., are at a lower price, though you have given some boost to the pulses production also, you have given some boost to the pulses quality production also, you have constituted the Makhana board also to ensure that these things do happen in future. But unless it happens in the short run, what you call the real kind of benefit to the middle class will not be as much as we are thinking it to be. Because if you say that, because the food inflation in India is probably very high, and when the food inflation is high, then whatever surplus you may left, ultimately it will go towards the food consumption. But this consumption, if this saving, whatever the people are getting, if they are able to invest it in auto sector, if they are able to give it to the FMCGs, if they are able to give it somewhere else, probably the economy is going to get some kind of a boost. If it does happen that way, probably we are in for, again, some kind of a structural problem. The other thing that one may like to say is that Arunji talked of unemployment issue. So far as unemployment issue is concerned, I will say that one good thing that they have done in this particular budget is with regard to the MSME, basically. They have actually increased the limit for the MSMEs. They have also gone in for the more loans to the MSMEs. They have tried to give a boost to the tourism by giving some mudra loans for the homestays, etc. So, to my mind, some kind of unemployment problem might be resolved, but it is not going to be to the extent that we wish it to be in the times to come. One more thing that, Arunji, I will like to address is that this budget does not address one of the basic structural problems which every economist has been talking of, how to reduce the inequalities of income, basically. And unless you reduce the inequalities of income, you are heading towards some law and order problem somewhere or the other. I think any budget should strive for reducing the inequalities of income somewhere. This is one flaw of the budget which one has been seeing for over the years. that inequalities of income and wealth have been increasing rather than decreasing in the country. And that does not augur well for the country. But this budget has again talked of public-private partnership to a very large extent. This budget has talked of more medical education, saying that in every medical institution, they will like to increase the seats by, they will like to increase the medical seats by about 10,000 this year. And in the overall 5 years, it will go up to about 75,000. They have tried to improve the infrastructure in 23 IITs for that matter. So education has also been taken care to some extent. And more importantly, to my mind, in the education sector, what is the most important point to me is when they say that they will ensure broadband facility in all the rural area schools, basically in the senior secondary schools. This is probably one of the fantastic moves that the government is trying to take. One thing that they have not been able to address somewhere or the other again is today our debt ratio to the GDP of the country is about 80%. And about 20% of the total expenditure goes towards the interest, which means that whatever we may collect by way of collections, only 80% of that amount is left for the developmental activities. And some of that goes to the freebies also. So how to reduce this interest cost and how to reduce the borrowings from the market, so far as the government is concerned, I think this is one of the another major features. So far as simplification of laws is concerned, the Honorable Finance Minister has said that the income tax law bill will be introduced in the next 7 days. And so far as the other provisions with regard to TDS, TCS, etc. are concerned, whether in respect of the rent or house property, they have been actually able to introduce some of the provisions. And the best thing that they have done is that if you have borrowed money and you are actually remitting it to your children abroad, in that case, there will be no TCS. And so far as the limit for remittances abroad to your own relatives is concerned, they have increased from 7 lakh to 10 lakh. I think this is a welcome sign so far as that part is concerned. I don't hear anything about the railways. I have heard about the civil aviation for that matter. On civil aviation, they have said that they are going to connect 120 destinations and the tourism will be promoted. So many crores of the people will be traveling by air in the times to come in the next 10 years. Very, very well said so far as that particular part is concerned. But I think most of our population travels by the railways, and we need to improve the railways further. We need to provide more security and safety so far as the railways are concerned. So this is one thing that I found missing. So far as medical is concerned, I think they have gone ahead and said that 36 of the very basic drugs, which are life-saving drugs, there will be exemption from the duties. And in the 5 of the cases, there will be only 5% of the duties. So they have gone ahead with those measures also. How the markets are going to react to this budget? Very difficult to say. I think yesterday what we have seen is not a very welcome sign. The markets reacted negatively, then went to a very little extent in the positive direction. I personally feel if the middle sector, again I am repeating it, if the savings, whichever the middle sector will be able to have through these tax cuts, they are able to go ahead and make certain purchases in respect of the autos or FMCG products. In that case, these sectors may see some growth. Or if the middle class is able to boost the tourism, then probably even the hotels might see some kind of a growth in the capital market. But to my mind, despite all these savings, unless we are able to control the inflation, I don't think that the markets are going to boom the way these boomed up in the last few years. Of course, the senior citizens
Not clear. Sir, yours are not clear.
So far as the senior citizens are concerned, they have done quite a bit in this budget. I think they should be feeling happy, as we have been saying about the middle class. I personally feel this is a very, very good budget. I will not call it a dream budget. Let me be very clear. Overall, of course, for the middle class, it could be a dream budget. Overall, it could be considered to be a good budget for simplifying the laws, for providing money to the middle class, for trying to boost the tourism, for trying to increase the education. But I think today also our medical, the expenditure on the education is
You
much lesser compared
recognize
to
that
developed nations.
I am
Thank you.
really sorry that we are running short of time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That's all. That's
And
all from my side.
thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable insight. And now I think we will proceed with Mr. Ashwani Jindal.
Sir, will say, first of all, welcome all the viewers who are viewing us. I am thankful to Ravi ji, Arun Ahuja ji, obviously Guru ji, जिनके पास से ये प्रोग्राम हम करने जा रहे हैं. पहला प्रोग्राम है, गुरु जी जो डिटेल में क्लोज बाय क्लोज डिस्कशन करेंगे. मैं बस इतना ही कहना चाहूंगा कि हम ज्वाइंटली ये प्रोग्राम कर रहे हैं टेल्स और सीए एसोसिएशन से. तो आप सब लोगों को जो बीच में गैप मिल रहा है 10 में बहुत कुछ है. अब गुरुजी जैसे बत्रा जी को कहते हैं कि इस बार आपकी दुकान चलेगी, गुरुजी की दुकान 2 साल तक चलेगी, जब 5-10 साल तक चलेगी. जो नया एक्ट आएगा ये तो अब टाइम बताएगा कि वो अगले साल से इंप्लीमेंट होता है या बाद में होता है. तो ज्यादा टाइम ना लेते हुए मैं बस इतना ही कहूंगा कि आप हमारे साथ बने रहें. हो सकता है 5-10 मिनट का बीच में आपको गैप आए, क्योंकि दूसरी तरफ जब ऑनलाइन कनेक्ट होते हैं. ओवर टू गुरु जी. थैंक यू सर.
Thank you, Ashwani ji. And I think now we will hand over the mic to अतुल जी. अच्छा, अतुल जी का.
हमारे साथ अतुल गुप्ता जी भी जुड़े हुए हैं. तो क्योंकि सर को गिरीश सर को आगे जाना है, हाई कोर्ट में आज लेक्चर है सर का, तो मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा अतुल जी से, इन ब्रीफ प्लीज आप डिस्कस कीजिए.
Thank you, sir. And with all respected Dr. Girish Ahuja ji, my mentor, Ravi Gupta ji, my elder brother C. Amarji Chopra sir, and Ashok Batra ji, Sanjay ji, Ashwani ji, Arun ji, Sandeep ji. Very good morning to all of you. And as we are aware that as far as the GST is concerned, these days, because of the GST Council, every quarterly we have a budget system rather than an annual budget, and we should be giving the more time to the Honorable Dr. Girish Ahuja ji to speak. So there are only 10 changes, and since the Ashok Batra sir is there with us as well, so I will only take two or three of the changes which I will like to deal. And I believe that the Ashok Batra ji will be taking care of rest of the changes which are there into the this Finance Bill 2025. Friends, there are, as I mentioned, there are around 10-11 changes are there in the GST law. But the one important change which I wish to share with all of you is about the introduction of a new concept of a track and trace. My dear friends, you are aware that as far as the plugging the evasion aspect is there, the government is now introducing, after this all the IMS system vis-a-vis the reconciliation of a 2A, 2B vis-a-vis 3B, the government has now going to introduce a new system of a track and trace as per the section 148A of the CGST Act, which is newly introduced, wherein that the government will be developing a system, the online ecosystem, wherein the certain class of goods and the certain class of person, so they will notify later on, can obtain the this unique identification mark for their the goods in which they are dealing with. So what is going to happen that say for example a tobacco product is there, or maybe some other class of product is there where the government feels that there is a evasion which is happening, or maybe for a certain other purposes. In that case, they will notify those goods, and the person who is dealing in those goods has to obtain a unique identification mark marking and affix the same on the goods or the package thereof. And my dear friends, not only that they have to affix the same on the package or the goods thereof, but also they have to furnish such information to the government and maintain the records as the that's in the form which will be notified later on. I just wish to share with you that even there is a provision available in the section 148A that the person has to pay the such amount in relation to using the system as well. So there may be a paid utility which will be developed by the government, wherein the person who is dealing with the specified goods has to obtain a unique identification mark and then affix the same on the goods or the package thereof, and also submit the maybe monthly or a quarterly detail of those goods which are cleared after affixing the identification mark into the government system. Now, my dear friend, apart from this, that there will be a unique identification marking system apart from this e-way bill, IMS, and all these things. I believe that maybe little bit compliances will be increased because of that as well. But very importantly, you have to note down a very important aspect as far as this unique identification marking is that they have also introduced a section 122B, which says that in case somebody fails to do so even after the notify, in that case there will be a penalty of 10% of the tax or rupees 1 lakh, whichever is higher. So in case you are dealing with the goods, say for example, you have cleared 5 crore of rupees goods without affixing the unique identification mark, the 18% tax is there, say for example, 90 lakhs, and the 10% of that, meaning thereby 9 lakhs. So 1 lakh or 9 lakh, whichever is higher, meaning thereby that there will be a penalty of rupees 9 lakhs in case you are notified to be that you have to affix the unique identification mark. So our chartered accountants are well aware about the UDIN, which they are putting on their certificates or the audit report, whatever they are doing. We are also aware about the DIN, that is the document identification number. Wherever the notices are being issued by the government, they have to have the DIN number. Now there will be a new concept of unique identification mark, that is UIM, which will be there for the certain class of goods or the person who has to affix the same. The second aspect which I just wish to share with all of you as far as the pre-deposit is concerned for section 107 and 112, 112 of the CGST Act. My dear friends, very importantly, you have to note down this because there are a lot of litigations going on. The 5th Feb is the last date when the lots of orders will be issued under section 74 of the CGST Act, meaning thereby that not only the tax demand will be there, but also the penalties will be imposed. And in certain cases, only the penalty provisions were invoked as far as the section 122 is concerned. Now, my dear friend, you are aware that when we are filing the appeal before the authorities under section 107, that is called the first appellate authority, or 112, that is the second appellate authority. So I am talking about the JC appeal or additional commissioner appeal, that is the first appellate authority, and then the tribunal, which is going to form GSET in the times to come. Now, my dear friend, very importantly, you have to note down that before filing the appeal, you are supposed to pay the 10% as a pre-deposit in the present regime. Meaning thereby, if your demand is of rupees 2 crore, the interest is 2 crore, penalty is 2 crore, you are supposed to pay the 10% of this 2 crore, that is the tax demand. So you have to pay the as a pre-deposit 10% of this tax demand as a pre-deposit to file the appeal. So then the automatic stay will be there and the appeal will be decided in the due course of time. Now, certain cases are there when there is no tax demand. It is only the interest and penalty, or even there are the cases when only the penalties are imposed due to certain reasons. For example, there is an allegation of abetting to crime, abetting to fake invoice under section 122 is there, or the tax has been already paid and then only the penalties are imposed by the authorities. Now, my dear friend, as per the new amendment, even if there is only, so right now what is happening that if the tax demand is there in the present regime, for example, as I mentioned you, the 2 crore of tax demand is there, then you have to do a pre-deposit of 20 lakhs. But now in the new regime, what will happen that even if only the penalty demand is there, the tax demand is nil. So you have only the penalty of under section 122. So for example, 5 crore is the penalty amount. Now, in the present regime, you are not supposed to do any pre-deposit for this 5 crore of rupees demand you are contesting as far as the section 122 is concerned. But now in the post facto, like after this act, this bill will become the act after the assent of the president, you have to deposit even the 10% of the penalty amount. I am talking about the cases where only the penalty demand is there. So if the tax demand is there, that will continue with the old regime. But if there is no tax demand, but only the penalty demand is there, in that case, you have to deposit the 10% of the penalty as well to file the appeal before the first appellate authority. And
even the 10% extra amount for the second appellate authority also. So what is going to happen that if you have a demand of rupees 5 crore as a penalty under section 122, so you will be lending finally paying 50 lakhs rupees as before the first appellate authority, and in case the matter will not be decided in your favor, then the 50 lakhs rupees additionally when you will be going to the GSET for filing the second level of appeal. So that I believe will be a very tough task to handle by the SSCs in the times to come, because at times you feel that there is only penalty aspect is there is a like something you feel that there is a merit in the case, but now you have to pay this much of a money which may impact the cash flow of the various working capital challenges may be there, because at times I find that there is a hefty demands of the penalties are being imposed, and specifically when they are reading the law. So one section 122 when we talk about there are the various subsections. So I find that there are the many cases when they are imposing the penalty for each of the subsection to on the SSC. So I find a case where they invoke the 5 subsections, and each subsection talks about the tax sought to be evaded, equivalent amount of penalty tax sought to be evaded. So practically the penalties are going up to 500 times of the tax sought to be evaded in a misinterpreted by the various field formation. So in that case, and then you have to pay the 10% of that. Something will be, I am closing, Arunji. That is something that we have to take care. So friends, these were the 2 important aspects I wish to touch upon. Now, since the time is the essence, and I'm aware that we have many speakers, Ashok Batraji, Dr. Girish Ahuja ji, to speak along with the Ravi Gupta ji and others. So I just convey my sincere thanks to Arun Ahuja ji and Sandeep Bhai Sahab, who introduced me this tales in 2012. And since then, I'm being the part of this August family, the fraternity, as a part of the tales. Thank you very much to all of you for giving me this opportunity. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Atulji. And I'm sorry, because of restraint of time, we have to cut short the speech of the speakers. We have a very learned panel with us today. Ashok Batraji is also with us, but I think we will at present give the mic to Dr. Girish Ahuja ji, and we will then, after his deliberation, then we will continue with the other speakers also. So I think now let us start with the direct tax proposals by Dr. Girish Ahuja.
Good morning to everyone. Sitting with me in the conference room, our President of the Tax and Educare Society, Dr. Ravi Gupta ji, Secretary of the TALES, Arun Ahuja ji, Karta of the CA profession, of course, our CA Ashwini Jindal ji, unofficial partner. He is a partner, no doubt, but I cannot be official partner, CA Manish Garg ji. Of course, Advocate Arshid Batra ji, he is also practicing as an advocate in the field of RERA and other place. Shivam, the person who is looking after the entire interarrangement, of course, here. Then we have CA Apurva. She is Apurva in the hall. CA Mohit Chaudhary, CA Raghav, CA Anuj Gupta ji, CA राहुल अग्रवाल, ऑफ कोर्स यंग चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, आजकल बहुत बड़ा काम कर रहा है, बताऊंगा नहीं, और राधे राधे जिसको हम सब कहते हैं, सीए राजेश अग्रवाल जी, ही इज आल्सो सिटिंग विद अस, एंड इन फ्रंट ऑफ मी इन द स्क्रीन आवर 2 पास्ट प्रेसिडेंट्स, ऑफ कोर्स सीए डॉक्टर अमरजीत चोपड़ा जी, सीए अतुल गुप्ता जी, Arun Kumar Gupta, his brother, is also there. Our Central Council member. Sorry, sir, I took your name late little because you have disappeared from the screen. That's why it took me little time to recognize you. Central Council member CA Sanjay Agarwal ji. In front of me, of course, Neha is also there, looking after a VOCA program. Am I right? Neha is there? Yes. I forgot to tell you that there's a gentleman from Gaurav Gupta ji is also here. CA Gaurav Gupta ji from Amritsar. He's here also in the conference room. Then we have Harish Agarwal ji in front of me. And any other? हाँ, एक बहुत बड़े हमारे CFO हैं ट्रेल के, Chanchal Rajora ji. He is also with us. Chanchal ji, welcome. He is also there in front of me. Yes. Any other? If I have forgotten, please remind me. मनीष जी कुछ और रहेगा तो हम बता दीजिए। वो एक और है हमारे, जो हमें तो हमेशा ही वैष्णो देवी लेके जाते हैं। Satish Batraji and ladies and gentlemen. Well, friends, let me tell you, there may be some criticism or something. I have absolutely no criticism about the budget. This is by far the best budget for the income tax point of view is concerned. Nobody had thought that this type of amendments will come. Let me tell you, whatever the points you have raised, they may be taken up in the new bill, which will come very soon. This budget was not meant for bringing those changes. Many technical changes have been brought here. Otherwise, let me tell you, the best budget I have seen in my lifetime. Nobody could ever thought of that these things are going to happen. I used to criticize the FM, but this time, kudos to the FM. Really very good. Now, let me start with the clause by clause. Section 10, clause 14 for capital assets. In the case of financial institution investor, if they invest into securities, that was treated as a capital asset. Even if they have been doing frequent sale and purchase of securities, capital asset. This time, alternative investment funds, that is category 1 and category 2, they are also investing in securities. There was a problem whether it's a capital gain or a business income. Now that has been included there. So therefore, that will also be treated as a capital asset. Second point is ULIP. ULIP, unit linked insurance policy, which was covered under 1010D. They have clarified that it is also a capital asset. So this is the first thing which I want to tell you. 1010D, you remember, now you cannot contribute more than 2.50 lakh in the what you call unit linked insurance policy or 5 lakh in life insurance policy. But there is an exception now. If you are in International Financial Service Center and you have an intermediary insurance unit there, then there is limit of 2.5 lakh or limit of 5 lakh will not apply. They can pay any amount if that policy is a life insurance policy of intermediary unit, which is there in IFSC. There have been many changes in section 10.4, 10.4D, 10.4E, 10.4F, ATNA. That was sunset clause because they were going to, there was sunset that it will be finished after 31st March 2025. These have been extended till 31st March 2030. So 5 year, another 5 year has been given for ATLA, which was the exemption 100% in the GIFT City, 84D, 84F. These are all that has been extended to 31st. Now, next change, an important change. In the case of charitable trust, you remember you have to apply for renewal every 5 years, regular type of approval. Now, what has really happened is there are small charitable trusts. They will be having a lot of burden for applying every time after every 5 years. So they have brought amendment in section 12AB subsection 1 stating that if your gross receipt for the past 2 years did not exceed 5 crore, then the period of 5 years has been extended to 10 years. You can go for renewal only after 10 years. So a big jump because small charitable trust compliance problem will always be there. So they have said now regular renewal for registration will be 10 years if your gross receipt of the past 2 years did not exceed 5 crore. This is another point. Another very good point. 12AB subsection 4. The commissioners have been given power to cancel the registration if there are specified violations done by the trust. Now, last violation is the specified violation that your return is your application is not complete or it is false or some misinformation is there. Now, application is not complete is a very small mistake. And you are saying we will cancel the registration. Now, good sense has prevailed. They say we are removing this application is not complete. So even if the application is not complete, you will be given a chance and there will not be a question of cancelling the registration and attracting section 115 TD. So this is a very good point which they have got. Another very good point, section 13.3. When you are filing the charitable trust return, what was happening is that if some person has contributed more than 50,000,
Yeah.
or his relative, including his relative, or person in which is a substantial interest, you have to give all the details of that. How do I know what my relatives have contributed 50,000 or a person invested in that? Now, very good thing. First, now contribution by me as a person to a charitable trust from that 50,000 has been raised to 1 lakh. And my aggregate for the contribution which I have made in the past has gone to 10 lakh. So there is no need to mention about that. Indeed, we are not a person referred to in 1333 if I have contributed only 1 lakh in a year. And if take the previous contributions also, aggregate bound 10 lakh, I am not a person referred to in section 33. But if it is more than 10 lakh or more than 1 lakh, of course, I cannot get a benefit from that trust. That is the point. Second, that person's relatives are also not going to be covered. And third, if a person has a substantial interest in any company, that will also not be covered. So that also is very big. How can you find out how much contribution I made in the past year for 50,000 rupees, and then my relative, my person in which I am interested? So they have changed section 13, subsection 3, clause 2, B, clause B. They have changed it, and it is a very good proposal for that. Coming to the next point, section 17, perquisite liquidation. You always know we used to read that value of any benefit or perquisite which is given in kind to a director of the company or to a person which we have a substantial interest, or by an employer to a person whose total income under the salary before taking non-monetary perquisite exceed 50,000. Then only it was treated as a perquisite. Otherwise, it does not exceed 50,000. It was not treated as a perquisite, like motor car given, like benefit or anything in kind given. Now that 50,000 is too small an amount, which was way back in 20 years, and they have not raised. Now they said they say as per decided by the government from time to time. They have been given power to raise this limit accordingly. Secondly, when you go going for a foreign travel for medical treatment. In that case, if you remember, they stay there and medical treatment was fully exempt, but the travel to foreign country was exempt only when your gross total income do not exceed 2 lakh. The word 2 lakh is also done with it. They will keep on revising that, and that will go up to any amount. So this was section 20. 23 is another very good proposal. In the case of section 23, if you have a house property which is self-occupied, the annual value is nil. And there is also a possibility that you could not occupy that house property for reason you were employed elsewhere or you were carrying on a business operation elsewhere. You have to give the reason. Now they have said any reason, if you are not able to occupy, it will be treated as self-occupied and it will be taken in. Why I'm telling this? Suppose there is a college principal. She is asked to stay in the college premises only. She has a house property. She cannot occupy. Earlier, what used to happen in the same city? They said, oh, so same city, we are not going to give the benefit. Now, even if it is next door, if he is asked to stay in the college premises as a principal Bangalore, and he has a house property situated maybe kilometer away or 2 kilometers away, for any reason she could not occupy because his job is that she has to live in that house property. So therefore, there will be absolutely no difficulty. You have to just tell the reason, any reason. Earlier, the reason was employed elsewhere or carrying on business and profession elsewhere. Employed means not in the same city, outside that city, or carrying on a business elsewhere. Now you are in the same city if you are employed, but if your job requires that you have to stay in that place, you will have to do it. So that is a good thing which has. And then same, 2 properties. Again, they have not changed. 2 house property can be treated as self-occupied. That is another good thing. I have a ancestral house, maybe in my village. I have a house in Delhi. I could not occupy both the houses. Still, it will be treated as living. So this is also a very good proposal. Another very good proposal is 44DDB. This is the new thing which they have brought. What is the point is, now you are getting technology from outside. You are getting services for electronic manufacturing facility from outside India, or for technical know-how given to a resident in India who's doing this electronic manufacturing, electronic goods, or who is carrying on manufacturing facility. Now this person, now there is a presumptive tax. 25% the amount which we have given to that non-resident will be treated as his income. 25%, a presumptive tax like 44B, 44BB, 44BB. Similarly, now 44G, the presumptive tax has been brought in the case of, and no other change in business. Absolutely no change, let me tell you. Very serious important point. 72A, 72AA. The very purpose of amalgamation used to be carry forward of laws for a fresh period of 8 years. Am I right, sir? Unabsorbed is not a problem. Unabsorbed, so you can be carried forward any number of years, we have no problem. But the very purpose of going to the NCLT and buying a property and then amalgamating with that was to carry forward the laws for a fresh period of 8 years. Similarly, conversion of a sole proprietor, a business reorganization, conversion of a sole proprietary firm or by a firm into a company is a business reorganization. You are allowed to carry forward the laws for a fresh period of 8 years. Similarly, converting the company into LLP, you could carry forward the laws for a maximum period of 8 years. Now the matter is over. Now you can carry forward laws only for the balanced number of years starting from the original predecessor. The original predecessor already await 6 years, so you will be able to carry forward only for 2 years. If it is 7 years, you will be able to carry forward for 1 year. So meaning thereby very clearly, please note the very purpose or the purpose of planning for a fresh 8 year of losses is gone now. It is for the balanced number of years, whether it is amalgamation under 72A or merger under 72A or 72A subsection 6 for conversion of sole proprietary firm or a firm into a company, or 6A, conversion of a company into LLP. In all the cases, losses will be carried forward only balanced number of 8 years. This is a very, very important telling you. This is what the earlier they have already introduced 28(4) waiver of loan. That also has been treated as an income. Now this is another issue. Now the very purpose of carrying forward loss we are taking for amalgamation, the matter is gone. The benefit is gone. Now coming to 80CCA, National Savings Scheme. मेरा भी है, रवि जी का भी होगा. हम कहते थे मरेंगे तो देंगे. था ना? क्योंकि if I withdraw the money from there, I have to pay tax on that. My children will take away the money. When I die, there is no tax in that. Now, the government from 29th August 2024 has stopped paying interest in the NSS scheme. No interest in the NSS scheme from 29th of August 2024. So representation was made by the institute and all others that since we are not getting an interest, and earlier you were supposed to pay interest, it was an obligation to pay the interest on that, you should pay us the money back. Now, individual can withdraw the money. We can withdraw the money, no question of any tax on that. So you withdraw with interest, the interest will be paid up to 29th of September 2020, 29th of August 2024, because after that there is nothing. So NSS, ACCCA, जाइए पैसा निकाल लीजिए, आपके काम आएगा, बच्चे देखते रह जाएंगे. अच्छा है ना, हमारी जिंदगी है तो हम अपना पैसा आप यूज करेंगे, ये बच्चों को दे दे के हम तंग आ गए. तो ये आपका पैसा 80CC, वो हंस रहा है राहुल, तो फादर भी बैठा है मेरे सामने कि मेरा पैसे गए. But I can't help it. You can withdraw NSS now, and 194EE is gone. The TDS which was there under 194E, if you withdraw at the rate of 20% is gone, because there's no more required. I will withdraw the money and take it away. मेरा भी पड़ा हुआ 15-20 लाख होगा. So thank you, madam, for giving me the benefit of 20 lakh, not paying any tax and getting the money today. And I will invest into share, and my people, my children will be more happy with the increase in that, because the return was only 7%. So I will withdraw. 80CCA is a very good thing. Another thing, 80CCD. You know, they have introduced a Vatsalya scheme of national pension scheme. You can deposit the money in the name of your minor children. You can deposit money. That is 80CCD subsection 1B, which is an additional amount of deduction which is allowed to the extent of 50,000. So you can do either in your name or 50,000 in the name of your minor child. So long as the minor child is minor, you can withdraw. You can withdraw only, unfortunately, if the minor child dies. then you can withdraw. It is not taxable. Otherwise, not possible. And once the minor child becomes major, it will be transferred to his account. That amount of ATCG National Pension Scheme. Now, since you are allowed to withdraw from National Pension Scheme under law, here also partial withdrawal to the extent of 25% will be allowed in case of money withdrawn from the minor Vatsalya scheme. So 80CCD में ये चेंज आया सर. 80LA तो मैंने बोल दिया कि वो तो इंटरनेशनल फाइनेंस सर्विस सेंटर सेटबैक has been raised from 25 years till 2030. एक 80IAC startups, eligible startup. Again, there was a sunset that you have to start up to 31st March 25. Now this has also been extended till 31st March 2030. So another thing. अब आए जिसके लिए इंतजार कर रहे थे 87A. कितना शोर मचाया था आपने. एक तो लॉ ने क्लियर कर दिया, हाई स्पेशल रेट का डिडक्शन नहीं मिलेगा. प्रोवाइजो डाल दिया है 87A. Maybe you are allowed an exemption up to 12 lakh. But if there is a income, short-term capital gain or a long-term capital gain or any capital gain, which is special rate taxable, you will have to pay tax on that. But otherwise, कितना फायदा हुआ सर? 12 लाख रुपए.
उतने पार्ट
सरप्राइज. 1 लाख का महीना. अरे एक चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट की नौकरी मिलती है तो 6 लाख 9 लाख रुपए साल की मिलती है. पहले मिलती है कि नहीं मिलती है? 9 लाख रुपए का पैकेज. वो बहुत कम को है जो 12 लाख का पैकेज मिलेगा. फुल्ली एग्जेम्प्ट. अरे 44AD देखिए, 1.5 करोड़ तक सेल कर लीजिए, 8% गिन के, पूरा एग्जेम्प्ट. 44AD 1.5 करोड़ में 8% अगर मैं कैश का भी करता हूं तो 12 लाख पूरा एग्जेम्प्ट है. अगर वो 2 करोड़ कर ले और 6% वाला हो, अगर सारा पैसा से आया, पूरा एग्जेम्प्ट. अरे 44AD है, मैं प्रोफेशन शुरू करता हूं नया. अरे 24 लाख रुपए तक की रिसीट है, पूरी एग्जेम्प्ट. 50% तो प्रिज्यूम करना है, कोई अकाउंट तो बनाने नहीं है. अरे कमाल कर दिया सर. कुछ सोचा था? सैलरी वाले की बातें कर रहे. अरे प्रोफेशनल भी बच गए. नया प्रोफेशनल कौन कमा लेता है 24 लाख? राजेश जी, मैं मानता हूँ कि गलत है. शुरू में बिगिनिंग में पॉसिबल नहीं है सर. इट टेक्स टाइम. और 20 लाख के नीचे तो वो भी नहीं है कि वो क्या
सर
सर्विस टैक्स भी नहीं है.
राजेश जी की वीकली इनकम है.
सर देखिए, राजेश जी की वीक की बात में नन किया कि चार्टर्ड
नंबर 1 वाली बात है. नंबर 1 की
नंबर 1 की भी वीकली है.
पर सर एक नया चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट 24 लाख रुपया साल कमाना इतना गिलास नहीं लेना आसान नहीं है सर. 1-2 साल ये कहने की बातें. सर देखिए ना टर्नओवर. अरे सर मैं कह रहा हूं मेरी 24 लाख, अगर तो वकील हैं उनके तो ये जो हमारे साथ बैठे हैं लेफ्ट में टैक्स देते नहीं, सर्विस टैक्स देते नहीं. ये तो 24 लाख भी जाए तो भी कोई टैक्स नहीं है.
गवर्नमेंट को तो मिलता है ना.
अरे गवर्नमेंट को क्या मिलता है? इंडिविजुअल को देते हो तो सर्विस टैक्स लगता ही नहीं उसमें. और देखिए 20 लाख तक रजिस्ट्रेशन नहीं. अरे आज तक गोलगप्पे वाला भी 1.5 करोड़ की सेल कर ले, वो तो प्रॉब्लम है जीएसटी में, मैं नहीं जानता, वो तो पकड़ा गया बेचारा. अदरवाइज तो यहाँ पर तो उसकी 8% है. 8% 12 लाख बनती है एमएबाई और 12 लाख माफ है. तो सैलरी वाले कह रहे हैं सैलरी वाले के लिए 1275. हमारे लिए 12 लाख बहुत है सर. इतना आसान काम नहीं है बिगिनिंग में 1 लाख रुपया कमाना. कितने आदमियों को फायदा होगा. देखिए जब हमारे एम्प्लॉई हैं जिनकी सैलरी 1 लाख से कम है, हमें सैलरी नहीं, उसकी टीडीएस नहीं काटना है. अरे 192 में टीडीएस कहाँ काटना है सर? 1 लाख रुपया महीना कम नहीं होता, कहने की बात है सर. और अभी तो आगे क्या होगा वो तो आगे की बात है, जो नया लॉ आएगा. बट आई एम टेलिंग यू, नेवर थॉट ऑफ दैट. दिस 87 फ्रॉम 7 लाख विल बी रेज्ड टू 12 लाख. कभी यह मेरे बैठे हुए सोचा था किसी ने सोचा था? एक एडवोकेट ये भी बैठा है, हर्षित बत्रा, ये भी कहेगा अब तो मजा आ गया. तो सर देखिए मैं ये कह रहा हूं, सरकार की ये मत समझना रिटर्न नहीं भरनी पड़ेगी. रिटर्न तो सबको भरनी पड़ेगी जो एग्जेम्पशन लिमिट से ज्यादा है. ये कभी सोच के बैठ गया हाँ 12 माफ है तो रिटर्न नहीं जाएगी. यू हैव टू फाइल ए रिटर्न. मैं तो कई बार कहता हूँ वो ब्यूटी पार्लर वाले, ये वाले, वो वाले, इतनी तो हमारे यहाँ ब्यूटी नहीं है जितने ब्यूटी पार्लर की दिखाते हैं. So what I'm trying to explain, they will also be benefited. It's a different thing. About 20 lakh you have to go
इस बार एक तो फायदा हो गया ना कि जब से इन्होंने न्यू रिजीम बाय डिफॉल्ट की है, अगर रिटर्न बंदा भूल भी जाए तो 12 लाख तो मिलना ही है ना.
पेनल्टी लगेगी.
मैं कहता बाद में भरनी हो तो 87A का बेनिफिट तो मिलेगा ही ना.
बिल्कुल मिलेगा, बिल्कुल मिलेगा.
क्योंकि बाय डिफॉल्ट नहीं हुई, पहले नहीं था, पहले दिक्कत थी.
बिल्कुल मिलेगा। अब देखिए सरकार को अब तो कहिए अच्छा काम किया,
अच्छा काम किया। अब तो
मोदी जी
कहते
ने
हैं।
कमाल कर दिया। कोई सोच सकता था? हमारे केजरीवाल साहब जी बोल रहे हैं कि क्या किया मिडिल क्लास के लिए, ये किया मिडिल क्लास
ये टोटली मिडिल क्लास बजट है,
है जी।
मिडिल क्लास बजट।
उन्होंने तो 10 लाख ही मांगा था,
तो 10 या तो 12 कर दिए,
12 कर दिया।
Can you think of that?
सर दिल्ली
I'm
में मिडिल
really
क्लास
hats
के
off
वोट
to
मिल
them.
जाएंगे,
हैं जी?
दिल्ली में मिडिल क्लास के वोट तो
अरे
मिल जाएंगे।
दिल्ली में मिले, कहीं भी मिले, उसकी बात छोड़िए, बिहार में भी आना है इलेक्शन, वो छोड़ दीजिए आप मोदी जी को। कोई मेरे को ये पुकसाइए मत मोदी जी के बारे में। Let us not talk about that. वो तो बात मत कीजिए। अब देखिए अनदर पॉइंट 139.8 हमने याद है, हमने रिकमेंड किया था कि अपडेटेड रिटर्न भरना क्यों अलाउ करिए। उन्होंने 2 ईयर करा था, हमने तो खैर कम पैसे किया, तो उन्होंने कहा 25% ऑफ एग्रीगेट ऑफ टैक्स एंड इंटरेस्ट 25% देना पड़ेगा विद इन 1 ईयर फ्रॉम द एंड ऑफ द ईयर, और फिर उसके बाद 50 था 2 ईयर्स और कर दिया। थर्ड ईयर का 60%। सर 90 लाख लोगों ने अपडेटेड रिटर्न भरी है। आपने सुना है प्राइम मिनिस्टर फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर 90 lakh people have filed updated return. Now you can file up to 4 years, but 4th year only when no notice under 148A1 or 148 वो नहीं होगा। बाकी 3 साल तक तो आप 60% दे दीजिए ऑफ एग्रीगेट अमाउंट ऑफ इंट। ये कहते 60 तो बहुत ज्यादा है, अरे 60 30% का 60 है यार, 18% है, और इंटरेस्ट 12% का जो होगा ना 36% का, इट इज नॉट 60 सर, ये वो 60 से कम आएगा। सर्च में 60 है, 60 से कम आएगा। और एक तो रेगुलर वीडीएस हो गया, रेगुलर हो गया कि आप कर दो अपना। ये मैं आपको बता रहा हूं, थर्ड ईयर 60, फोर्थ ईयर 70, ये बहुत अच्छा काम किया। मैं आपको बता रहा हूं ना, 4 years यू कैन फाइल अपडेटेड रिटर्न, और 144B में कह दिया 60 और 70। एम आई राइट सर? ये भी एक अच्छा चेंज जो आया, जो मैं आपको बता रहा हूं। और मैं बड़ी मजाक से बात करा करता था, एक टनेज टैक्स है, टनेज टैक्स 100, उसमें पता कितने सेक्शन है सर? 115 से शुरू होता है, VA, VB, VC, VD, VEF, और VZ हो जाता है तो भी खत्म होता है। VZA, VZB, VZC तक है सेक्शंस। वो पहले ओशन गोइंग शिप के लिए था, प्रेजेंटिव इनकम 115 VG में प्रेजेंटिव इनकम निकालते थे। पहला 1000 टन का अगर वो है तो पहले 10%, 100 टन का 70 रुपीज, 1100 टन का 70 रुपीज, 7000 रुपीज सर। राहुल जी आप बताओ ना, 70 रुपीज आएगा कि नहीं आएगा? दूसरे का था ऑन 1000 to 10,000, हाउ मच वाज दैट बोलिए? 53 था, 53। उसके बाद 42 था, 10,000 to 25,000, एंड अबाउट 25,000 29 था। सो आप अपनी, ये ओशन गोइंग सेल पहले शिप के लिए था, नाउ इनलैंड वेसल के लिए भी प्रेजेंटिव इनकम आ गया 100, और उसकी वजह से सारे सेक्शन चेंज किए गए। जहां पर भी ओशन गोइंग लिखा था, साथ में लिखना था इनलैंड वेसल, तो इसलिए 10 सेक्शन तो उसी वजह से चेंज हुए हैं कि इनलैंड वेसल को ऐड करना है अलॉन्ग विद द ओशन गोइंग शिप। ये एक बहुत अच्छा चीज है, प्रेजेंटिव टैक्स को लाए और उसके अच्छे के लिए लाए। अब आइए 115 BAC IA, किसी ने सोचा था? सर मुझे तो बहुत फायदा हुआ है। वो जो 4 to 4 up to 4, 4 to 8, 5 8 to 12, 12 10 12 to 16, 15 हाँ गया ना 24 लाख तक आपका टैक्स 25% से ऊपर नहीं है। एक प्रकार से तो कम किया ना, बहुत कम। सर मुझे 1,43,000 रुपए का फायदा हुआ, 1,43,000, क्योंकि मेरा सरचार्ज 25%, तो 1,10,000 का तो सबको बेनिफिट हुआ, प्लस 4%, 4% है ना सर। और जिसका 50 लाख से ऊपर है 1,10,000 इंटू 10% इंटू 4 प्लस 4%, जिसका 2 करोड़ 1 करोड़ से ऊपर है 1,10,000 प्लस 15% प्लस 4%, और जिसका 2 करोड़ से ऊपर है, बताना तो पड़ेगा कि मैं टैक्स देता हूँ। तो कितना हुआ? 110 इंटू 25 एंड प्लस 4 वर्क्स आउट टू 143। 10,000 रुपए से ऊपर का बचा, सबको 10,000 रुपए बचा है महीने का। इट इज नॉट ए स्मॉल अमाउंट सर। और 24 लाख तो अच्छे चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट के लिए तो कुछ भी नहीं है। 10,000 रुपए महीना घर लेके चले गया, 10,000, और गरीब आदमी भी 5,000 रुपए महीना लेके चला गया। सर 12 लाख तक 5,000 पे 60,000 का बेनिफिट है. So 5,000 per month benefit to him. He's not to pay. He has an extra 60,000 with him, and we have extra 140. रवि जी से पहली घड़ी ले ली महंगी, इसलिए ठीक है भाई ले आओ. वो कहता है मैंने क्या अपने साथ लेके थोड़ी जाना है, लीजिए इसका. मुझे तो गिफ्ट दे दी मनीष जी ने.
सर आपने टैक्स दे दिया उसमें?
हमने किस बात का टैक्स दिया? लोग 56 क्विंटल में वॉच नहीं आती है, नहीं आती है,
अभी आपने बोल दिया।
नहीं है, तभी तो वॉच नहीं है मैंने. So but I'm trying to explain कि कितना फर्क हुआ है, कितना इम्प्रूवमेंट हुआ है. आप देखिए उस पे आ जाइए, टीडीएस
अगली बार आ जाएगी.
आज तक 193 में कोई स्लैब वो नहीं था, एग्जेम्पशन लिमिट एक ही थी. अगर डिबेंचर्स लार्ज वो पब्लिक इन सब्सटेंशियल इंटरेस्ट हो तो 5,000 रुपए तक मांग. अब 193 में थ्रेश होल्ड लिमिट सीधे 10,000 कर. 194 में जो शेयर होल्डर को डिविडेंड मिलता था वो 5 का 10 कर दिया. तो फर्क क्या पड़ता है 10 कर दिया. इंफॉर्मेशन तो 1-1 रुपए की है उनके पास. तो इसलिए they are not bothered. Now they have information. Even 1 rupee dividend you receive, there is information. So 193 को कर दिया 10,190 का कोई टीडीएस नहीं कटेगा. 1 लाख रुपए. This is good thing. No TDS. They have not to run and pillar and post to get the world program. मैं सीनियर सिटीजन हूँ वैसे. 40,000 का 40 का 50 हो गया
आप सुपर भी करने वाले
और 5 का 10 हो गया. आर यू नोटिसिंग पॉइंट? उसमें भी 194 बी ये लॉटरी या 94 डबल पी हॉर्स रेस. पहले होता था 10,000 एग्रीगेट ड्यूरिंग द ईयर. नो, 10,000 पर सिंगल ट्रांजेक्शन. नो टीडीएस. बी में भी डबल बी में भी नो टीडीएस. फर्क पड़ा सर. 194 डी इंश्योरेंस कमीशन 15,000 का उठा के 20,000 कर दिया. 194 आप देखिए कौन सा सेक्शन नहीं छिड़ा है. 194 एच कमीशन का किया, 194 जी इंश्योरेंस कमीशन का किया, 194 जे सैलरी इनका भी कर दिया. चार्टर्ड अकाउंट ये वाला सर कितना 30 का 50 कर दिया. 30 का 50 किया, 30 का 50 किया ना. लिमिट बढ़ाई लेकिन 194 टी को नहीं छिड़ा है. वो जो शुरू होने वाला है अब लड़ेंगे उसके लिए और जाएंगे और उसके लिए इलेक्शन कराएंगे. मैं ये बता रहा हूं कि कोई सेक्शन ऐसा नहीं है. आई में आई है. कहां 240 कहां कितना किया? बिल्कुल गलत. 50 पर मंथ. डोंट टेल मी 6 लाख. ये मैडम ने भी गलत बोला और आप भी गलत बोल रहे हैं. 50,000 पर मंथ. पहले तो आखिर के 2 महीने का 240 हो तो भी नहीं कटता था. अब तो पर मंथ के हिसाब से है. 50,000 पर मंथ. It is maximum. Multiplied by 12 is 6. But if it is rent for 3 months, you have taken in January then, and it is 60,000. Earlier you were not supposed to deduct. Even 80,000 you were not supposed to deduct. Now you are supposed to deduct if it is more than 50,000. Yes. ये भी ध्यान रखिए. ऐसा नहीं है कि सीधा सीधा वो गलत बोल गई मैडम तो इसका मतलब थोड़ी है. It is 50,000 per month. Be careful about it. 190 for a compensation for that acquisition. 2.5 लाख का 5 लाख कर दिया. वो तो कोई और बात है. कोई मिस कर गया हो तो बता देना भैया इसमें. वरना अब सबसे बढ़िया जो है ये 206C1H और 194 क्यू. यही झगड़ा होता था कौन काटे. वो हमारी सारी वो ये इंडियन ऑयल बर्बाद ये जितने भी थे वो कहते हम तो नहीं, हम तो टीसीएस कलेक्ट करेंगे. वी आर नॉट बॉदर्ड अबाउट. हम तो बड़ी बड़ी कंपनी के सॉफ्टवेयर ही खरीदा टीसीएस लेने से. हम कहते थे 194 क्यों बायर करता है, वो सैलरी टीसीएस कलेक्ट करता था. सो देयर हैड बीन अ डिस्प्यूट एंड पीपल वर हैविंग अ प्रॉब्लम. यू नो हु इज गोइंग टू डू इट. Now 206C1H gone. Now it is buyer who is supposed to do it. वो तो 50 से नीचे होते तो भी काट दिया करते थे, कलेक्ट कर लिया. Now it is only the buyer who will do it under 194Q and not the what you call seller. So the matter is over once for all.
TCS is now settled. TCS settled हो गया ना. अब
TCS खत्म हो गया.
अब खत्म हो गया. अब TDS
अब TDS ही रह गया. 194Q अबाउ 50 लाख का जो भी है वो आपका. अब ना 206C1 उसमें लिखा था टिम्बर अंडर ए फॉरेस्ट लीज, अदर देन फॉरेस्ट लीज और अदर फॉरेस्ट प्रोड्यूस. उसमें 2.5% था. उन्होंने 2 कर दिया. टिम्बर अंडर ए फॉरेस्ट लीज और अदर देन ए फॉरेस्ट लीज और फॉरेस्ट प्रोड्यूस 2% TCS फ्रॉम 2.5% ब्रॉड टू. अब बाहर जाने वाले आप जो रेफरेंसेस करते थे 7 लाख के ऊपर आपके ऊपर देना पड़ता था. Now it has been raised to 10. And very good point, you have borrowed money from specified institution for sending your child abroad. And then also they were supposed to collect TCS at the rate of 0.5%. That also is done. It's a good thing. Government thinks about it. ये मैं नहीं कहूंगा गवर्नमेंट ने कि हमारे अकबर जी चोपड़ा जी ने बड़ी क्रिटिसाइज कर दिया कई चीजों में, तो मुझे थोड़ा दुख हुआ था। तो मैं खुश की बात कर रहा हूं कि देखिए ऐसा बात नहीं है। गवर्नमेंट ने सोचा होगा 1 लाख करोड़ रुपए का नुकसान होने जा रहा है। 1 लाख करोड़ रुपए का, हंस रहे हैं अमरजीत जी, 1 लाख करोड़ रुपए सर, 4 लाख करोड़ रुपए का टारगेट ज्यादा है। कंप्लायंसेस के ऊपर ध्यान देंगे वो, एवरीथिंग बी बेस्ड ऑन कंप्लायंसेस नाउ, और एनुअल इंफॉर्मेशन स्टेटमेंट और स्ट्रॉन्ग होगा। यू वेट एंड वॉच, थिंग्स आर गोइंग टू बी डिफरेंट नाउ। आई एम टेलिंग एवरीबॉडी, पे टैक्स एंड एंजॉय योर लाइफ। छोड़ दो गलत काम करने, कोई फायदा नहीं है। अरे सिंपल सा टैक्स दो, 24 लाख पे 3 लाख का टैक्स नहीं, 3 लाख का टैक्स है सर, कुछ भी टैक्स नहीं है। अभी ओल्ड रिजीम में जाओ, बेड़ा गर्क हो जाएगा। ओल्ड रिजीम में 4.5 का बेनिफिट लेने के बाद भी आपको 5 और 9.5 बनता है। ओल्ड रिजीम में 5 लाख एग्जेम्पशन है ना, और 4.50 आप डिडक्शन भी ले लो तो 9.50 हुआ।
8 लाख की डिडक्शन बने तब बेनिफिट।
तो फिर बताइए कौन सी
8 लाख की है ही नहीं।
अरे इन्हीं के 8 लाख बनेगा 9 लाख वालों का, बाकी किसी का है ही नहीं। साले खाने पीने को है नहीं 8 लाख की डिडक्शन ले ले।
8 लाख की डिडक्शन अगर किसी की हो,
So old regime is practically finished. It is practically no more.
मुझे तो लगता सर इनकम टैक्स एक्ट नया आने से पहले पहले खनिज
नया तो हम दे चुके हैं, उसको तो इंतजार कीजिए। हमारी दुकान आप कहते तो चलेगी, हमारी दुकान तो हर साल चलती है, ऐसा थोड़ी है। अभी तो जो लॉ आएगा वो 50% ऑफ द एग्जिस्टिंग होगा, फिर हम लोग प्रोवाइजर डलवाएंगे ना। 24 प्रोवाइजर 1023C में किसने डलवाए? हम लोगों ने डलवाया नहीं। So they wait and watch, nothing is going to happen, but chartered accountants have a bright future because new law, we could handle GST and we will handle the new law also similar. There is absolutely, अब ये है कुछ पेनल्टी लगती थी जिसको जॉइंट कमीशन लगाता था कई सेक्शनों में। Now the power has been given to the assessing officer to penalty. वो तो कोई टेक्निकल चीजें हैं जो थोड़ा बहुत, अब वो होता था कोर्ट स्टे कर दे, तो हाई कोर्ट स्टे करते तो उसको पीरियड को एक्सक्लूड करते थे, पीरियड पता नहीं था, वो उन्होंने बता दिया 3-4 जगह में 153, 153B, 142BA पीरियड जो बताया, स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम जिस दिन आपका वो स्टे ग्रांट हुआ या इंजेक्शन हुआ और जिसपे सर्टिफिकेट मिल गया कि स्टे वेकेट होने का, तो क्लियर कर दिया ना, क्लैरिटी करिए। इसे ओनली कुछ इसमें कुछ समझाने वाली कोई चीज नहीं, इट्स ओनली अ मैटर ऑफ क्लैरिटी। एक अच्छा किया है। पिछली बार उन्होंने कहा था नो प्रोसिक्यूशन इन केस ऑफ TDS इफ यू आर एबल टू डिपॉजिट द मनी बिफोर द डेट ऑफ फाइलिंग द क्वार्टरली रिटर्न। सिमिलर थिंग हैज बीन डन फॉर TCS। और एक वो हटा दिया, वो जो नॉन फाइलर वाला, नॉन फाइलर का डबल द रेट और 5% और तो हटा दिया ना। एक आ गया ना जो एक सिंगल है, उससे पैन बेस्ड हो गया सब कुछ, वो अच्छा सर। मैं ये नहीं कहूंगा
एक्टिव या सर
एक और अच्छी चीज करिए, जो कहते हैं ना 1 मंथ में 270AA है और आपको इम्यूनिटी ऑफ प्रोसिक्यूशन, इम्यूनिटी ऑफ पेनल्टी लेना है 270A का जो डिसीजन हुआ 270AA में, तो 1 मंथ मिलता था फॉर मेकिंग द एप्लीकेशन, अब 3 महीने। और कई जगह पे वो उन्होंने क्वार्टर अब लिखा था 1 मंथ फ्रॉम द एंड ऑफ द, जैसे सीजिंग करते थे 132(8) में, 132(8) का जो बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट को करता था विद इन 1 मंथ यू हैव टू आस्क फॉर स्टे फर्दर एक्सटेंशन, अब उसको भी 3 महीने। So they have given a sufficient time for that purpose। इसलिए मैं कह रहा हूँ कि इस बार अगर आप ध्यान से दीजिए, वो टेक्निकल चीजें थोड़ी चेंज करी हैं, बाकी तो नए बिल में आ ही जाना है और उसमें और करेंगे। बट मेरे ख्याल मैंने सब कुछ कवर कर दिया, कुछ छोटा मोटा रह गया हो।
सर्च वाली प्रोविजंस रह गई हैं।
सर्च वाली प्रोविजन मैंने नहीं पढ़ी, मेरे समझ ही नहीं आई।
सर आप बताएंगे।
नो सर, दोस आर द कैलकुलेशन ऑफ टोटल इनकम को उन्होंने पहले हम करते तो उसको ऐड करो फिर लेस करो, उसको ठीक किया, बाकी कोई टेक्निकल चीजें हैं। टेस्ट मतलब हमारा
सर यार पैन एक्टिव होना चाहिए, मतलब मान लो आधार से लिंक ना हो देन
नहीं कोई फर्क नहीं,
पैन होना है। आधार लिंक की तो बात वो रिटर्न जाने के लिए होती है ना, रिटर्न नहीं जाएगा,
पैन होना है।
115BB में कुछ नहीं किया ना गुरुजी, 115BB का कुछ नहीं किया।
नहीं कर देंगे ना अगली बार।
इनकम टैक्स एक्ट में
और कोई चीज हो तो आप पूछ लीजिए मेरे से, मैंने तो शायद ऑलमोस्ट
सर वो आप एक्ट तो आया ही नहीं, उसके बारे में 2 मिनट में ये बता दो भी एक्ट में मतलब कहते हैं इम्प्लीमेंटेशन कैसे होगी अगर आता है तो।
सर बिल आएगा, पहला पार्ट। हाँ बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बात बता दूं एक तो लोगों को मैं तंग आके कह गया था ये डायरेक्ट कोड भूल जाओ, हर बार डायरेक्ट कोड, इवन टीवी में भी डायरेक्ट कोड की बातें कर रहे हैं। अरे वेयर इज डायरेक्ट टैक्स भाई, देयर इज ओनली वन टैक्स, इनकम टैक्स। तो वेयर इज द डायरेक्ट, अब मैडम ने भी ठीक कर लिया अपने आप को, पहले बोलती थी डायरेक्ट कोड, नाउ इज ओनली वन टैक्स, इनकम टैक्स बिल। एम आई राइट? आपने समझा नहीं इसका क्या मतलब है, आप उसे सोचा ही नहीं। अरे डायरेक्ट टैक्स होता तो इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स आ जा सकता था, इनकम टैक्स होते सिर्फ इनकम टैक्स ही आएगा, तो वो भी खत्म हो गया, कोई चांस नहीं है कोई इनहेरिटेंस टैक्स इस साल आए।
Very good.
Why? Income tax bill is not direct tax bill. Direct tax bill में कुछ भी ऐड कर सकते थे, now they can't add, they will only income tax. So that point is also there, it is 50%. सारे प्रोविजन हटे हुए हमने जो दिए थे। So मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि बहुत अच्छा वर्ड बोला, इनकम टैक्स बिल मान रहा है। पिछले साल जब उसने बोला था डायरेक्ट टैक्स कोड, गलत, इनकम टैक्स बिल आएगा। गांधी जी भी हैं, ओहो सॉरी सर, हमारे सीएफओ साहब, हमारे सीईओ हैं वरुण बेवरेजेस के लिए, और उसके दिव्य ग्रुप वरुण बेवरेजेस, वो भी सामने हैं, तो मैं उनको वेलकम करता हूँ। एनी क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम योर साइड सर? गांधी जी, हाँ अरुण भाटिया जी भी थे, मैंने थोड़ी देर पहले देखा था, अरुण भाटिया जी भी थे, परवीन भाटिया, सॉरी परवीन भाटिया जी, परवीन भाटिया भी थे। वो मैं पता क्या लिखता हूँ, परवीन भाटिया तैयार ऑफ अरुण आहूजा, इसलिए मैंने मिक्स कर दिया तो वो गलती हो गई सर, इसलिए हो गया। और कोई चीज रह गई सर? एनीथिंग?
I think सारे provision
आप
हमने
बताओ
cover
सर,
कर
कुछ
लिए।
questions हैं?
Now that we have time, sir, 5-10 मिनट आपके पास हैं, so we can take up some questions
Any
from the
questions?
audience. And Sanjay Agarwal ji is also here. We will take this opportunity. Sir, अगर 2 मिनट के लिए आप भी अपने views दे सकें।
संजय जी लीजिए,
इधर वॉइस तो कनेक्ट हो जाएगी ना। संजय जी 1-2 मिनट में अपने व्यू दीजिए जी।
Thank you very much, Guruji, and Ravi Gupta ji, Arun Ahuja ji, Lakshmani Jindal ji, Gaurav Gupta ji, और बहुत सारे लोग जो मेरे व्यू में इस टाइम नहीं आ रहे हैं, राधे राधे, राजेश अग्रवाल जी, and lot of Manish bhai. So thank you very much for organizing this first cut for the full discussion on each clause. So, the discussion was very healthy. I think not many questions are not there, except for one thing which we need to have a clarification regarding the charitable trust, because those charitable trusts, for them renewal is due in 31st March or April, May, because the 5-year period was there for that. So they will get the automatic renewal, or they need to apply some special form will be there for them. So this is one of the flag point which we see. Similarly, for ATG, there are certain timelines which are given along with the registration under section 12 AB. So that is also not amended. So we need to see this, that the ATG and renewal both are done before the expiry of this 5 years. We are going to represent to the board regarding this. So far as such case is concerned, there is nothing change in this, except as already Guruji has said, that mode of completion, it is now undisclosed income. There is one more small change with respect to TP assessment in respect of such cases, that earlier because when such took place, at that time any assessment which is concluded thereafter, that will more income or a higher rate of taxation. So they say anything which is prior to the date of such, or to have a time for filing, and in case of the investment, that will not be treated as undisclosed income if there is any adjustment in the TP case. So from my side, these are the only two things which I wanted to add. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm sorry that because of the World Forum of Accountant, me, Dr. Girish Ahuja, yesterday we spent the whole of the day. Otherwise, the first cut should have come yesterday from Dr. Girish Ahuja, but as you know, there we have around 6,000 participants, and the duty of the council is to see that each and every person, those who are attending there, they get the good hospitality, smooth operation, and I being responsible for the registration. And that is why on those we were there, and this today's clause by clause discussion is very useful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sanjay, and let me congratulate you on behalf of the successful conducting of the VOPA. I happened to be there before yesterday, and I saw the grandeur with which you have organized it. Congratulations on that.
थैंक यू संजय जी बत्रा जी मेरे ख्याल में
कुछ questions हैं,
Batra
कुछ
ji
questions हैं
हैं,
और
but
बत्रा जी।
before I request Mr. Ashok Batra ji to deliberate, any questions from Dr. Girish Ahuja?
फॉर्म नहीं फॉर्म दे दो वो क्वेश्चन
क्वेश्चन दे दो।
कुछ क्वेश्चन ऑनलाइन भी आए हुए हैं, मैंने पूछ लिए।
वो ले लो सर।
दे दो जरा।
6 लाख एनुअल।
सर देखिए, हमेशा टीडीएस जो कटता है एट द टाइम ऑफ क्रेडिट और द पेमेंट whichever is earlier.
Yes.
If you have given 6 lakh at a time, you don't have to deduct. But you ये ना प्लानिंग करके रिफंड वापस दे लो तोड़ने को, वो नहीं है। Otherwise you don't have to deduct because at the time of credit or payment whichever is earlier, the payment you have made 6 lakh, 50,000 for 12 months is there 6 lakh. लेकिन एग्रीमेंट 11 महीने का होगा तो दिक्कत आ जाएगी।
11 महीने का ले लेंगे।
तो 11 महीने का ले लो, वो ले लो 5,50,000, ठीक है,
ठीक।
वो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, नो इशू इन दैट।
नेक्स्ट
But otherwise, the 50,000 per month is a different purpose. Purpose is different because the misuse of thing they were doing.
Earlier,
let us put for 3 months.
Let us say कि एक आदमी ने 1 महीने के लिए दिया, मार्च में उसने किराए पर दिया 5 लाख रुपए, तो उसको टीडीएस
कटेगा 3 महीने का दिया तो भी कटेगा। 50,000 पर महीने का।
उसने पूरी लीज टर्म का 11 महीने की लीज करके
तो 50
इकट्ठा ले लिया तो नहीं,
वो नहीं कटेगा। अशोक गुप्ता जी कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं?
सर नमस्कार, आई एम सो ग्रेटफुल, आपने बहुत अच्छा वो किया है सर। 13(3) में जो चेंज लाए हैं रिगार्डिंग सब्सटेंशियल कंट्रीब्यूशन मेड बाय एनी पर्सन, so he will not be required to give the list of relatives, but in case it is an HUF, in case HUF has given substantial contribution, then the change which was required in sub clause 3
HUF is a person.
Sir, C in C clause where such author, founder or person is a HUF, a member of the family. So in that case, in case this person is not deleted,
सुन लीजिए अशोक जी, उन्हें अमेंडमेंट सिर्फ पर्सन की गई है
sir. जी,
amendment is not for what you call author or only for person making a contribution.
so that means
Because
HUF
he is
will
an
also be,
outsider. He is not an insider. He is an outsider making
Yes,
a
sir.
contribution of 50,000. Now that has been raised to 1 lakh, aggregate 1 crore. And
Sir,
how
that's
do we
all.
know his relative? That
Yes,
person is an outsider. How do we?
Sir.
For the author, for the trustee, for the manager, we know his relative.
sir.
For the person who has made a contribution to me, मुझे पता है आपका स्कूल चलता है और आप भी डोनेशन इसलिए आप पूछ रहे हैं, मैं मानता हूँ, पर पर्सन इज नॉट HUF. नो, HUF इज सेपरेट। HUF के रिलेटिव नहीं होते, वो को-पार्सन
मेंबर्स होते हैं, वो देनी पड़ेगी।
वो तो देनी पड़ेगी।
Sir,
HUF
acha, in case some HUF has given substantial contribution, then the list of relatives of the members will have to be given.
Yes, yes, because that is only for person. You notice तो किया आपने, आप पढ़ के तो
जी।
बता रहे हैं और फिर भी पूछ रहे हैं कि मैं आपकी तरह जवाब दे दूं आपके फेवर में, no question. It is only for a person other than those mentioned in that category.
Yes.
वो B clause में जो दिया हुआ है, author, trustee, manager
जी,
और the HUF, उसको छोड़कर जो person.
Acha. Right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
हेलो सर।
और है कुछ सर, क्योंकि बत्रा जी का भी
नहीं मैं ये रिक्वेस्ट कर दूं, सॉरी बत्रा जी, क्योंकि
नहीं, बत्रा जी तो हाई कोर्ट पहुंच गए।
2 ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म है तो 2 जगह थे नहीं, तो मैं अपने सभी जितने व्यूअर्स हैं इतनी रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि बत्रा जी के साथ हम दोबारा सेशन रखेंगे इधर टुमारो और डे आफ्टर टुमारो फॉर स्पेसिफिक क्लोजेस रिलेटेड टू इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस, बिकॉज एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म पे भी जुड़ सकते हैं बत्रा जी, तो वी आर कनेक्टिंग एट द टेल्स kindly thank you very much for staying with us.
तो आपने
कोई और एक क्वेरी है तो पूछ लो कोई। हाँ जी, पर मनीष जी कुछ
नहीं,
पूछना
नहीं,
चाहते
नहीं,
हैं?
मैं उनसे कह रहा था, मैंने अपने व्यूअर से कह दो टेस्ट ज्वाइन कर लेंगे अभी थोड़ी देर।
अगर आपके पास टेल्स का वो है लिंक तो आप काइंडली टेल्स ज्वाइन कर लें, अदरवाइज मैं अपने ग्रुपों में अभी आपको विद इन 2 मिनट शेयर कर दूंगा, तो आप इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स प्रोविजन के लिए और जितने भी हमारे और स्पीकर ऑनलाइन जुड़े हुए हैं तो आप उनको टेल्स के ऊपर लिंक अप कर सकते हैं, फॉलो अप कर सकते हैं। थैंक यू वेरी मच for staying connected, sir. Thank you Sanjay ji and everyone. Thank you very much.
सर ये पेनल्टीज वगैरह जो असेसिंग ऑफिसर लगाया विद द प्रायर अप्रूवल ऑफ जेसी।
हाँ, प्रायर अप्रूवल है वो। प्रायर अप्रूवल तो पहले जेसी लगाता था।
हाँ वो
अब तो यही लगाएगा।
अब ये
ये लगाएगा, बट वो लिमिट्स है, उस लिमिट से ऊपर अगर
वो तो
पेनल्टी है
होता ही
तो
है,
वो approval लेगा।
देनी पड़ेगी पहले दोनों
उसके
के
लिए।
लिए।
दोनों तरफ करना पड़ेगा।
सर ये 206 जो गॉन किया है
ये
कब से
प्रपोज करेगा तभी तो जेसी
सबसे
लगाएगा ना।
अच्छा अच्छा
किसी का अपनी पावर नहीं है।
अच्छा, एक चीज और बता दूं, इस बार कमाल कर दिया, टीडीएस के प्रोविजन सब 1/25 से वो जमाना चला गया जुलाई, और जब जुलाई आता था अक्टूबर, all because the budget will be passed before 31st March.
Yes.
All provision related to TDS are applicable from 1/4/2025. That is very important.
सर जैसे 158B में सर वर्चुअल डिजिटल एसेट को अनडिस्क्लोज्ड इनकम में लेकर आए हैं, तो सर उनको ब्लॉक असेसमेंट में आ गए, तो उनके लिए भी रेट्स वगैरह हो सकती है क्या 6 ईयर 10 ईयर वाला जिन्होंने पहले
जब उसको वर्चुअल डिजिटल अनडिस्क्लोज इनकम आ गया तो हो गई होगा। क्यों काम करते हो ये क्रिप्टो वाला? सबसे गंदा काम है। डोंट डू दैट। थोड़ी देर में बैन ही हो जाएगा इंडिया में। चलिए, बट दिस कवर्ड, उस पे आ गया, उसकी डेफिनेशन में आ गया अनडिस्क्लोज इनकम के। सो इट इज वर्चुअल डिजिटल एसेट इज कवर्ड देयर। और उसके ऊपर 285 में भी आ गया एसेट, देखा आपने कि उसकी रिपोर्टिंग होगी वर्चुअल डिजिटल एसेट की। वो एक नया सेक्शन डाल दिया 285 Yes, that is what I'm saying. Don't think that it is easy now. ये यंग आदमियों ने बड़ा गड़बड़ की हुई है। स्टॉक मार्केट में लगाओ, ये मत करो ये काम।
गेमिंग वगैरह,
गेमिंग में नहीं करना।
क्योंकि सर गेमिंग के अंदर जितनी लिटिगेशन है,
अरे ये जो पढ़े लिखो ने ये कंप्यूटर से काम करना शुरू कर दिया, बड़ा गलत किया है। घर बैठे ये करते रहते गेमिंग।
Thank you, sir. On behalf of TALES, I am really grateful to Dr. Girish Ahuja ji for the wonderful deliberation, and I'm very happy that we have been able to conclude the session within the time, the direct tax wala, and because Dr. Girish Ahuja ji will have to go to other seminars, I think we will conclude the direct tax portion now. And if there are any other queries, you can send it. We will respond to that later on. Friends, we have with us the learned, very learned Dr. Ashok Batra ji for the discussion on the indirect tax proposals. So over to you, Ashok Batra ji, for your deliberations.
एक सेकंड नहीं बस।
Thank you, sir. First of all, I would like to thank Tax Law Educare Society for providing me this opportunity wherein I can share my views on this Finance Bill 2025. Atul ji has already spoken of it. Let me tell you within the limited time, because I have to start my deliberation here also at 11. So I would like to just deliberate on one thing, that the government is really disturbed about the fake invoicing and they're making the provisions difficult day by day. If you look at 107.6, then according to my understanding, in terms of circular number 171, when I am issuing a fake invoice, then I am not liable to pay any tax because there is no taxable event that the supply has not taken place. Now they have amended 107.6 and they have stated that you are liable to pay 10% of the penalty. So kindly imagine a person who was not liable to pay the tax, who was involved into fake invoicing, but he was able to go with the appellate authority without any pre-deposit. Now that thing has been done away with, and it will be very, very difficult. We have seen very recently an employee has been served with a show cause notice of 3,713 crore rupees. Of course, Supreme Court came to the rescue and Bombay High Court where the show cause notice has been demolished. But in the case of fake invoicing, those who are lucky, whose assessment will be finalized before this provision will become active. Another important change is in relation to 17.5. We all know Safari Retreat, Odisha High Court, and then Supreme Court elaborated the provisions 17.5C and 17.5D. With regard to plant and machinery, now they have added the word plant and machinery has been replaced with plant and machinery. So therefore, the definition of plant and machinery, which exclude the ITC on works contract. So in a way, the judgment of Honorable Apex Court has been nullified. And this judgment, you will appreciate, they have taken another added precaution, added explanation too, in spite of the fact there is any other order of the court, etc., that has been done. Another important change which I would like to share with you is with regard to the ISD system. It is going to be mandatory from 1st April 2025. For that matter, 261, 21, and 20 subsection 2 has been amended, wherein you are being permitted to distribute the credit of ISD in the case of interstate also. And the earlier circular, which has been given the benefit, either you can cross-charge or ISD. Now the ISD is going to be mandatory with effect from 1st April. So be careful. This is another area where the litigation is likely to be there. So now the facility of cross-charge versus ISD will not be available. Another important change is in the definition of local authority 269. Friends, there have been number of show cause notices being issued by the Noida authority. And now once the Noida authority is coming out of the definition of local authority, then this GST should have been charged under forward charge by the Noida. So it is a much related relief being given. And even in circular number 245, very recently, day for yesterday, they have very clearly stated that DDA is not a local authority. So on the same line, GDA will also not a local authority, and Noida will not be also a local authority. Reverse charge provision will also be not be applicable. So friends, kindly appreciate this. Then section 12.4 and 13.4, which deals with the voucher, we have seen circular number 243. Vouchers are either prepaid instrument or they are actionable claims, so neither their supply of goods nor services. Of course, they have not amended Schedule 3, but because that circular they clarified it is not subject to tax, so no change. Then we can come to amendment in section 38 and 39. There was a rule which says that you have to pay your tax minimum 98% through credit and 1% has to be paid in cash. That judgment, that rule was being challenged in one of the high court. I don't remember the name of the high court, and being struck down. Now they have made amendment in section 39. You have to file your return within the time subject to such condition and restrictions. Similarly, a lot of changes have been made in section 38 to align with IMF system, wherein now once you are issuing the credit note, the other party has to accept it or reject it. He cannot leave it unattended. And as a result of which, one anomaly which was there, you should have passed the incidence of tax and interest. The word interest has been deleted. And another condition has been put it, this ITC has to be reversed by the government. Barring that, if I go 148, Atul has already dealt with that. Then Schedule 3, I will just see the last change looking to the time constraint because I have to speak here also. Then in that case, 8A was already there. Warehouse goods, when they are being sold before cleared to domestic tariff area, then there was no tax on that. It was being treated as foreign territory. Similar line, now they have stated if the goods are there in SCZ, FTWZ, and before export or domestic traffic area, clearance, in case you have sold it, there will be no GST. And kindly appreciate the definition of domestic tariff area, SCZ, and FTWZ has been taken from the SCZ Act 2005 and not from the Act that is Custom Act, which was there in 8A. And then explanation, they have very clearly stated in case you have paid the tax, fine enough, no refund will be given. So these are some of the changes which I want to share with you, looking to the time constraint. So I am concluding my session here and requesting the organizer to take charge of it. And in case there is a question, I will be happy to answer it.
Thank you, Ashokji, for the wonderful deliberation. I know that you have to speak at the other seminar also. So I think we will conclude the session here. If there are any queries from the participants, they can forward the queries to us and we will respond to them a little later. We will get the responses from the learned speakers and then forward the replies to you. I think we had a very excellent and a very learning session today, both on direct taxes, indirect taxes, and an in-depth analysis of the various provisions of the budget. So I think with that, we will conclude the session now. Thank you everyone for joining us. An e-book has been prepared discussing all the major changes in the made by the finance bill. I think you have circulated it.
That is also available at indiataxlaw.com. You can download from that, indiataxlaw.com, and or otherwise you can
I think
email or WhatsApp.
It has been mailed to all the participants also. Whatever mails were available with us, we have already mailed the booklet. It's an e-book. And I think if you go through it, you will get a very good in-depth into the amendments made by the budget. Thank you, friends. Thank you everyone for participating, and a special thank to all the learned speakers. Thank you, Shivam, for organizing this webinar today very well with all technical assistance provided to him. CA Amarjit Chopra ji, CA Atul Gupta ji, CA Ashok Batra ji, the learned speakers, we are grateful to all of them, and the participants, especially CA Harish Chaudhary ji, whom I can see here, CA Praveen Bhatia ji, CA Ashok Gupta ji, and various other senior participants. Thank you, everyone. So we conclude today. Thank you.